What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rewind here on the Wayward World podcast. I am your award-winning host, Sid Altamali. I'll never get tired of saying that, which is like kind of crazy. Happy 2025. This is the first episode. Literally, this is January 1st, 2025, and we're recording our very first episode with an amazing drag queen all the way from the mystical, magical land of Brooklyn, New York. She is a host of Sex Change along with her husband, Mauve, former guest of the show, and DJ, trans drag queen extraordinaire. Please welcome Evangeline. Evangeline, how are you doing?
I'm doing so good. I can't believe I've never been a guest on a podcast before. All I do is yap.
Yeah.
I really do never shut up. So finally being on a podcast, it's a dream come true. Thank you so much, Sid.
Oh no, absolutely. And I'm glad you're on this one. You're like on my list of people to like ask ever since I we had Mauve on the show. But then you came around and asked to be on. So I was like, oh yeah, let's do it.
Oh yeah, I just listened to Mauve's episode today, so I'm primed, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I caught the vibe of everything.
What were your thoughts on that episode?
I loved it. I thought that you clued in on you dove pretty deep into the other Mauve Instagram, which I appreciate as a fan of his artwork because I feel like a lot of people in the drag community don't know about his like fine arts practice, but he's really like got some amazing work, and you really responded to the like straight jacket
Mhm.
one in the pink fleece, which I was there during the conceptualization and some of the shooting of that. It was a really amazing piece.
Yeah, he is really amazing. I think you should like get to know him a little bit more, you know.
You know, I've really been thinking about it, but he's all the way in the living right now. So
I think there might be just a tad bit of a delay, but like that's what happens when you're recording from the East Coast and the West Coast. They're too far apart.
yeah, two houses, both alike in dignity.
Since the dawn of time, aka the 90s, when East Coast, West Coast, that rivalry.
Oh my goodness. And let me tell you, as a New Yorker, I do prefer Tupac.
Uh, yep.
Though he grew up in New York. He was an actor. The whole thing was like a wrestling persona he put on. He was actually like a very like kinky, like counterculture actor who like found this like persona that eventually like led to his own death.
Oh yeah.
It was very drag of him, honestly.
I love that. I'll be honest, I have not listened to a lot of Tupac or Biggie or any of the rap things.
You know, I am like a huge hip hop fan. That's like if you know me well, you know this about me, but like I someday I want to like write a thesis or something about like the ways that rap music and drag are like kind of mirrors to each other culturally in what they represent and like and in what the struggles that they're facing are.
Mhm.
Because I think it's very interesting. I think any art form that like really exists as kind of the voice of a marginalized people, but also is like in this constant like push and pull battle with commodification and with like gentrification. That's like that's a field of interest. I'm very or not that's a phenomenon I'm very interested in.
No, that sounds really interesting. And I can see that like those two contrasts together, especially since like, hip hop and drag in a lot of ways are counterculture, at least like underground drag and hip hop. Like mainstream stuff is usually um like has a more palatable taste to like a wider audience, but like at its core, those two things they share a lot, and especially since a lot of people associate hip hop with like um, POC culture, like Black and Brown, Asian cultures as well. And a lot of white people don't really like that too much, at least from my experience.
Yeah, it's interesting too because hip hop and drag actually also, at least like drag having like an origin point in any form is like a weird and nebulous thing, but in terms of like the like cultural origin of kind of where they both sit now, they both hip hop and drag kind of came out of disco.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Because disco was a very like everybody's invited, like we're all in this like one space together, black, white, brown, queer, straight, like, and a bunch of art forms kind of like splintered out of that, all of which like have their own intersections internally, but kind of societally become associated with like certain demographics of people. It's the same reason why like I feel like if I made that analysis to certain hip hop fans, they would not be happy with me comparing it to drag. And if I made that analysis to certain drag fans, they would not be happy with me comparing it to hip hop. But sometimes similar things manifest similar problems.
Well, it sounds like you can make a whole podcast about that topic, and I feel like you should.
Me, I've thought about it. I tried to start a podcast with my sister Venus, but I don't know what happened. I think we just didn't do it again.
That's fair. Well, in the meantime, this episode is about you. So why don't you tell the wayward artists out there who's Evangeline?
That is something I would love to do. Yeah, so my name is Eva. Right now I'm Eva, the person dressed up a little bit. Evangeline is long for Eva, and I think a lot of people talk about like, oh, my drag character is just myself, or like, oh, my drag character is like just like fully separate from me and a character that I created. My thought on Evangeline is that she is a character that I created, but also like a virus infecting my real body, and slowly taking over. And I'm becoming more like her every day, which is interesting. But I've kind of like, I've been doing drag for almost 9 years. So it's been a lot. I've been Evangeline only for four of those years, maybe five, when I came out as trans. So I very much kind of inhabited a different character before, but I would say to describe the actual like character of Evangeline and what she represents, I would say she is generally one of two people who both come from a reality that's about 0.5% shittier than the one that we live in now. One is a sort of divine figure of chaos, disdain, and absurdism who causes the world to be that like 0.5% worse. And then the other side is a regular woman who suffers the consequences of those things.
Oh, that's sickening. Probably one of the best descriptions of someone's like art and drag persona that we've had on the show so far. Like when I look at your stuff from now and like even like before, like since after you became Evangeline, um, yeah, it's very like absurd. It's very like you're not afraid to like change it up, like your style, or like to experiment with different things, which I love that. I don't know what to expect out of Evangeline. Whereas like a lot of drag queens, like you kind of have a flavor, you kind of have an idea of like someone's taste. And even when we had Mauve on the show, like I can pinpoint Mauve's aesthetic even in my research. But even just looking at you, it's just you you're someone I really love a lot because you're not afraid to like experiment and like really just get weird with it.
I think that just comes from the fact that I have such debilitating ADHD that there's no version of me learning something that doesn't come from me just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't even do like YouTube tutorials Like I just have to throw, like bang my head against a wall, and eventually I'll either get it or I won't. So I'm just like kind of, and I try to just like stay playful all the time, you know, like I identified two different pieces. I have never worn them before, never worn them in a certain way. But also I think Mauve doesn't get enough credit sometimes for the way he's able to do that as well, especially with makeup. Because I can also in ways I feel that I am more of like a static character than Mauve is. Like I do basically the same mug and have been doing variations of the exact same makeup for like 4 or 5 years at this point. Sometimes I'll like switch it up. But for the most part, it's red eyeshadow, a lot of blush, like burgundy lip, white, like pencil eyebrows every time. But what happens with me is that I will find like a new thing to latch on to, and it kind of gets added to like the matrix. Like the skullet is my most recent
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. That's why
discovery. Yeah, and we can get more into the skullet during the what I assumed would be a skullet segment of the interview.
yeah.
But anyway, this is a very roundabout way of me saying that I am incapable of staying focused on one thing for long enough to not be exciting in some way.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that's such a good perspective to have. I think a lot of people like to stay comfortable in their lane and like just do their own thing, which is fine, you know, like that's but I that's not how I would describe you. And the skullet, yes, I would love to talk. Let's talk about the skullet before we like dive into like who you were as a drag queen many, many years ago. How did you end up discovering the skullet? Because I'm thinking of doing something similar because of you. I think it's fabulous.
It's it really was like the best decision I have maybe ever made as like a drag artist. And first and foremost, I want to credit the iconic drag performer, makeup artist, and has been famous many times for many things. Fallon from Chicago. I don't know if you follow Fallon.
I do, yeah.
Um, yeah, so Fallon started doing the skullet, and then FKA Twigs started doing the skullet, and I said, and my thing is that I started balding when I was 20 years old. Like I started losing my hair like really, really young, which as a trans woman is a really fun and great experience that I would recommend to everybody. Definitely balding very young. Like that's the move. That is how you feel pretty and validated in your femininity. It's the best. Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, if I can't be Daniela Darling and have a full head of beautiful curly hair, I'm gonna go back to being alt. So I kind of came out as bald in a sense. I make a lot of jokes that this year I came out twice. I came out as a DJ and I came out as bald.
Yeah, show it off. Like, because
Um,
you can't really get a good
oh yeah,
look at it. Yeah,
it's
model.
this tonight is a human hair ponytail stuck to my head with a single piece of toupee tape.
Mhm.
I'm not going to give you too close of a look because my natural hair is peeking out a little bit because I am actually growing it out
Mhm.
in my own hair too. So eventually it's going to be dyed black and straightened and blended into the whole situation. But for the time being, I'm being conscious of my angles.
That's fair. Yeah, you don't want to show too much. You don't want to show
But I'll give you some nice top of the head action.
love
Still a
that.
little bit of leftover glue from last night. It's really fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's like what it was a really unbelievably great career move to do it. Like all of a sudden I got the skullet and for I was the most booked I had ever been for like 3 straight months. Like people it was because I for once in my life as a person who was constantly like rejecting trendy things and like getting annoyed at everybody just like doing a trendy thing, I really got to be like one of the first people in the community to adopt like the new trendy hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just conveniently bald and like it wasn't like any kind of like emotional toll being taken on me from like shaving off half of my hair. I was like, yeah, fuck it, like let's do it. Shout out to Cité Bontemps, who also is rocking the skullet right now. Also Kakoa. I don't know if she is still doing it, but last time I saw her, Kakoa was rocking the skullet. To my knowledge, we are the three skullet divas of Brooklyn.
I love
But
that.
people have really begun to associate me with it, and I don't mind. I have never felt this confident in my entire life. Like I don't need to go to Turkey anymore. It's great.
I love that. I love that. How long do you think like the Sculla is going to be there for the rest of your life, or do you think she's going to evolve some way?
You know, it's hard to tell at this point because as we spoke about earlier, like I have a very hard time seeing past like 39.
That's true.
But like in this moment in my heart, yes, like this is it. Like this is I'm just gonna grow this shit out. I'm gonna get a little frontal and like I will be skeletted in my tombstone
Oh,
if I ever die, which I doubt I will.
oh yeah. No, you'll never die. Not none of us. That like the gorgeous divas never die.
Exactly. I will live on in infamy.
Exactly. Well,
Um,
oh, did you have something else you wanted to add?
no, I just talk. You
Talk,
go ahead,
talk.
please.
You go
Please.
ahead. This is your episode. What were
Oh,
you
I,
gonna
I
say?
had I had nothing to say. Like sometimes I'll just say and I won't know what I'm gonna say, and then I just say something. But I would much rather answer the like questions that you have for me. That
Well,
sounds a lot more fun than me just blabbing incoherently.
oh, that's fine. I was just gonna say, in order to understand Evangeline, we have to go back. We have to go way back to 2018. Tell us about Strawberry.
Oh my God. So 2018, that was an interesting year for Strawberry.
Mhm.
That was my first foray in Brooklyn. I came here for makeup school, and I was 21 years old. I've been doing drag for a couple years. I've like been doing drag since I was 18. I started like I'm a pride baby, started at this weird like conference hall gig, I think with Lady Bunny of all people.
Mhm.
Um and I was doing drag up in New Paltz with my drag family, who many of them are still family to this day, as Mauve kind of expressed. But I wanted to expand my horizons. I wanted to do something different. So, and I had known like I had been kind of put on in the Brooklyn scene a little bit. I had done a Bushwig already. I had done a straight to DVD already, and I knew Emmy Great, I knew Sherry Poppins and Christ, and Shanita Bump back when she lived here. Shout out to her. So I moved down here for makeup school, which I barely attended because I was at the Rosemont. But in its heyday, in the glory days of the Rosemont, just getting up to the most wild shenanigans. I was a very self-serious alt girl at the time. I only did Bjork, Kate Bush, Fever Ray, all the art pop. I thought I was like I really like it's such a cliche now, but it's the diva who moves down to Brooklyn because she saw videos of nightgowns, and you become like diet untitled queen for like a year of your life until you realize that like everybody is not like people actually do want to have fun, and they don't just want to see you like wailing and losing your shit on stage and like doing your art. and then you either get your ego crushed and go get sent packing, or you hone and refine your craft into something more specific to you and something more enjoyable to your audiences.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's not a trope, but also I've seen it happen with more than just me. But I definitely like experienced that, and it was very humbling because I had this impression in my head that Brooklyn was all the art drag, and to an extent, it was more heavily that at the time. But when I met girls like West Dakota, Dynasty, Pantera Lush, I met a lot of these like fashion girls that were like just doing songs, but they were so fierce and like they just looked amazing. They didn't wear that much makeup. They had like these like interesting, a lot of outfits that they made or like designer pieces. And I kind of like watched the way that they did drag and was like, maybe I don't want to be an alien. Maybe like I want to be a human woman who just like serves at a drag queen level. So I feel like I learned a lot from them, from people like Magenta too, who was just like a true like socialite and like was like such a loud presence in any room she came in. And now like you go anywhere in Brooklyn, like people are still going to know exactly who Magenta is. She's a wild girl. And yeah, so I kind of like found myself in this like just being the absolute smallest fish in this big pond, and definitely like finding some success as well. Like I got to do a lot of I got like booked at a lot of these like shows that I was just doing the open set for at the time eventually, and like made a pretty good impression on everybody. But I eventually just like got priced out of living in the city because I was way too much of a party girl and way not enough looking for a job. So and back then, like drag was not only a very small amount of people, especially in Brooklyn, were like doing drag to get paid. Mm-hmm. Like they were doing it more because they loved to party and because of like the community and the vibe. And certainly I was not making any goddamn money off of it. So went back upstate, but would still visit New York very often. I did this open set for a Switch and Play called Moxie, where I wore a red and black robe and I was like Julius Caesar and I had stab marks, and I met this fucking person, this little man with a painted white face holding a knife and a bouquet of flowers, also wearing all red and black, and married him. Mm-hmm. And so much has happened. So much happens in life.
Oh no, exactly. Like that sounds like such a journey that you went on. Like you trekked all the way from upstate all the way to Brooklyn, and you met so many drag queens and drag performers. Like I recognize some of the names, you know, Untitled Queen, Sherry Poppins. Who else did you mention? I think I've heard of Shanita Bump, but I don't think I can like. If you showed me a picture of Shanita Bump, I don't think I would have known who she is, but I think I heard that name. But
Shanita, my God, not super active in drag these days, but like truly like as good as horror drag gets.
Oh, cool.
Like her prosthetic work is like so beyond, and she's funny. She's funny as fuck. She's a real one too. We still talk. She's out in LA making lots of money doing her thing.
Okay.
But shout out to Shanita Bum. She was the first friend I made at Bushwig. We were like the earliest two people, and I was just like sitting on this bench, and me and Shanita like started chatting. And I think we'll just always have that like we were two nervous babies like about to step foot on the Bushwig stage for the first time. and at least like we had another like nervous baby to talk to.
No, I love that. That sounds so cool. And especially like you're pretty much there for the conception of like a lot of really cool drag artists in Brooklyn too. Like
I
Show
gave Show
Pony.
Pony his first gig.
Yeah, I was
I
mentioning Show
I
Pony too.
was Show Pony's drag mother for 3 months.
I love that. I love Show Pony.
And then he was already too good, and I had nothing left to teach him because he was already better at drag than me. So I handed him off to my drag mother, and we were siblings ever since.
I love that. I love Show Pony so much. We're getting him on the show soon to promote his glam nomination.
Oh yes, yes. He's we're all very excited for him. I mean, that's family right there. Like I've seen that boy through a lot in his life. He's seen me through a lot in my life, Mauve as well. Like I'm so proud of him. He's a fucking moron, but that's why I love him.
No, he's amazing. I saw his little documentary that he did on the gay app. Like
The
that's
Revlon
Revlon, yeah, that one, whatever it's called. I literally
or
just
Revel
yeah.
or something. Yeah, I need to watch that. I'm in it, I think. Because videos from my birthday show, they were there at my birthday show
Yeah,
filming, which was great because my birthday show was our whole drag family from upstate.
I love that. So are you from New York? Like, are you born and raised?
I'm from New York State. I'm from upstate New York, a little town called New Paltz. It is a hippie town, a college town. There's like one beautiful mountain that people come there to go to college, mountain climb, or pick for apples. And I haven't done any of those things. Some in a really long time, some ever. But it was a great place to grow up, but if you stay there past 30, you'll die there.
That's how Spokane feels like. That's why I'm trying to move. That's where I live right now. It's the eastern
It
part of Washington.
it's it's time. The clock is ticking.
Yeah, especially I'm 30, gonna be 32. So I'm like, we better go
Oh,
somewhere else.
well, I'll just assume that the cap in Spokane is 35 to give you a couple years.
You know what? Like I feel that. You know, the clock is ticking now to officially move out because I am gonna move this year. So we're working on that right now.
So the plan is in motion.
The plan is in
Because
motion.
in the Mauve podcast, it was very like I'm really thinking about doing this, but you're doing
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah, I think what triggered it is seeing some of my brokest friends, like who have no job, no money, no nothing, and they're just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna move to Seattle." And here I am making $23 an hour at my medical gig, and I'm like, "Why am I not doing this already?" So I was just like,
Other people have had the odds stacked against them more than you, so I think you can make it. One thing I've learned about being in New York is that some people really will just like live off the skin of their teeth, scrape by any means necessary, and still like do everything that they want to do. It just takes mental illness,
mhm. Which I grasp that.
weaponized.
Yeah, I grasp that by the balls now. So
Exactly. But sometimes you need a little bit of that, to get you through the day. At least like as a drag artist.
mhm,
Like I need to be a little bit uncouth, unhinged,
mhm.
unfit for society. Because otherwise, like, what am I getting on a microphone and talking for? If I don't have anything interesting to say.
Mhm.
But also take your meds and go to therapy. And don't listen to any advice I give you
No, you're absolutely right.
unless it's good.
I was telling my friend, I was telling my friends, like, I can do whatever I want because I know I'm crazy and I will do it. So I will make it happen.
Exactly. Oh my God. I walked a ball for the first time. That
Oh,
was my like I can do whatever I want because I'm crazy. And I got chopped immediately. They were not featuring me and I was not doing a good job and I was deservedly chopped. But now I need to keep walking beginner runway until I don't get chopped.
That was at OTA, right? Open to
It
all.
was my DJ mother mentor, DJ Accident Report. Do you know Level Your Pussy Up by Aja?
Oh, I think I've
The Is She
heard
Gonna
of this
Jump From
song.
There song?
Oh, okay.
It
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the song.
well, he made that beat.
Oh, okay.
uh, DJ Accident Report, resident DJ at Sex Change, and rest in peace, Nick Nax. But he's a good friend of mine. Taught me a lot, and he took me to my first ball. And I was like, I'm not gonna walk. Like, no, why would I do that? But the thing about me is that if there is an opportunity to go in the spotlight, my self-preservation instincts go out the door, and I am in the spotlight. Like, pass or fail, whether or not it's a good decision, it's the decision I'm gonna make.
Oh, I love that. Did you meet Josephine?
I did. Oh, and you know what? That was the moment where I was like, okay, like they are particular, but they're also the ballroom community is very inclusive and patient
I
because
love.
that girl is a hoot and a goddamn holler.
Yeah, Josephine is drag to me.
Truly. I mean, that's the thing. It was such a humbling experience being around ballroom because I was like, we put all of this on just to do what they can do by just walking around.
Exactly. Hmm.
Like the level of like vulnerability and confidence from even like, because I was at a little kiki ball. Like I wasn't at like a super competitive, like high level ballroom event. And I was watching these people like, I have never been that in control of my body in my entire life. Like full drag, full like totally thought out number. Like even when I felt like I was killing it, I've never just been walking back arched, locked in the way some of these divas were going. And it was very inspiring. It was like that's like something I need for my own um evil doing.
No, I love that. I
So I'm
I really want to go see the an OTA. Like not necessarily walk, but like just be in that environment. I'm subscribed to them on YouTube, so I just watch videos compilations from that event.
so you keep up. You're a fan of the OTA.
Yes, I try
I
to
am
keep up on
too.
everything.
That's great because I think like sometimes drag as like drag culture, at least like as defined by how it exists kind of under the shadow of drag race, can be like so encompassing that you just like don't think about that there's like queer and trans people doing other things, even like adjacent other things like burlesque, like ballroom, that like have an element of drag to them. It's like you're so caught up in the matrix of drag because it's so intoxicating and there's always so much interesting stuff going on. But I think this year, like I'm really trying to branch out and like really at least like observe and enjoy like queer and like trans counterculture like everywhere I can find it.
Yeah, I feel that exactly. That's why I like this show. I'm this year, my goal is to not have too many more drag performers on the show. And in fact, I actually did book my very first burlesque specific person. Not to spoil future events or anything like that, but I booked Ruby Mimosa, who is a burlesque legend here on the western side of Washington in Seattle.
I've I've heard the name. I've definitely heard the name.
Yeah, she's amazing. She just did the tour. She was an ensemble member of Jinx and Ben De La Crème's holiday show, which I was shocked.
Maybe that's why I know the name. I'm a huge Ben de la Creme fan.
Hmm. She played
She,
she plays the Santa that did this.
oh my god. I haven't seen their Christmas show. I saw Bendelacrem's one woman show about getting married, I think to herself. I'm not sure, but um it's like single and committed or like ready to be committed or something. It was a great show. She might be like, I guess other than maybe Sasha Velour, like she might be the Rue girl that I'm like most influenced by like creatively.
Yeah, she's amazing. Like even just behind the scenes, like knowing like what she does outside of drag, like I think it's like I don't think a lot of people realize just how amazing she is as a artist.
And she was kind of the first one who really sort of like rejected the like drag race spotlight
Hmm.
and like kind of like didn't keep like playing into the mythology of it and ended up like kind of prioritizing her local community and kind of still to this day like does prioritize her own city and what she's doing there over like reaching for that like international fame and superstardom that was very much like something that she could have opted into. And I really respect the hell out of the fact that she didn't, because
Yeah,
I wouldn't either. Like fuck that. I don't
exactly.
ever want to be that famous. I realized recently I want to be exactly as famous as Coco Peru.
Okay. All right. Nice. I Coco Peru. God, that sounds familiar as. Oh no, Coco Peru. Oh
Tension
yeah.
Timothy.
Yeah.
Tension
Okay.
Timothy.
I've seen Coco Peru on social media. I don't think I've seen Coco Peru's like stuff, but I know who Coco Peru is as well.
You have to watch the video of her playing Grand Theft Auto.
Oh my God.
It is. I mean, do you listen to Very Delta at all?
I do. Yeah. I think she was on Very Delta.
Yeah, Coco. To me, there's a very clear line of like lineage from Coco Peru to Delta Work to Miss Mamshi.
Miss Mamshi. I love Miss Mamshi so much.
That's another one who I was there for the inception of,
Oh yeah.
because her drag mother, Iodine Quartz, and me used to host drag race viewing parties together.
Mhm.
And before she even started drag, she was like at all of our drag race viewing parties, just like hanging out, kikiing. She was really quiet back then. And I remember like one day she like made the drag Instagram and I followed it and I was like, oh yeah, like I remember her. And then the pandemic happened and then we were out and she was famous.
Oh, that's
Like it was just like that. Like she just got it so fast. And I think she is the funniest drag performer alive.
oh, that's cool. I'm like 1 degree separation from Miss Mamshi. My best friend Asti went to college with Miss Mamshi.
Oh my God. She she was on the West Coast during college, I think.
Oh
Right?
yeah, I
I
know.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Asti was in New York for college, so I think I don't know. I could be wrong.
Or maybe I know that she worked at Disney for some amount of time in her life. She was telling me about that at one point when she was over at my house because Mauve was making her an outfit.
I love that.
Um, but she's born and raised New Yorker.
Hmm.
Um, she's but she's amazing. Did you see her Delta Work FK Twigs
Oh,
thing that she posted on TikTok?
oh, like her spoken word, with Delta work.
Yeah. So I made that mix.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
It's
I
called
love that.
it's called Delta Sexua after Delta Work and Eusexua.
Okay, with the new FKA Twigs album, right?
Yes, yes. I'm a big fan.
Hmm. Yes, the Skullet. I love it. I love FKA Twigs. I mean, like, I think I'm a little bit a poser, I guess, because I discovered FKA Twigs through TikTok. of the one didn't I do it for you?
Hey,
That's
there's
a good
no
song.
wrong way to discover an artist.
That's fair. Yeah,
Like,
I still need to listen to her new album, but my friend loves her a lot.
so right now it's just three singles. The album is coming in like, God, like 2 weeks or something, like a little over 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So I'm very, very excited about that. She's one of my favorites. But if I were you, I would go back and listen to, if you haven't listened to LP1, her first album, I would really, really recommend it. It's probably my personal favorite, which is very controversial of me, but because the Twigs fans love Magdalene, the one that Cellophane is from, the song that you were singing.
Yes, Cellophane. Mhm.
But LP1, like that's kind of the one for me.
Yeah, we kind of got off the rails talking about like just drag and like stuff and like that. So let's rein it back in and talk about you. Um, when, why did you transition from Strawberry to Evangeline? Like, how did that transition happen?
Well, transition.
Ah,
Yeah, like
love.
I was in it was the pandemic. I was in a weird place in my life of like kind of stagnancy. And I just started to like really cringe at people calling me strawberry out of drag. And that was part of like a catalyst. The catalyst for me transitioning was Sophie dying. And I was like, all right, you only live once. I could fall off of a pillar in Greece while trying to look at the moon. I better get an HRT. And then I was thinking, like, if I am going to like come out full trans woman, because I was basically a like living shell for a drag performer at that time in my life. Like, whatever was underneath Strawberry didn't matter. It was Strawberry's property. It was her world. And then whatever was underneath was just whatever was left of her after I took my makeup off. And I wanted to be a little bit more like embodied in myself. I wanted to be more intrinsically tied to my drag persona rather than feeling like dependent on it. Like I wanted to feel more like we were like existing kind of harmoniously. So I was in the car with Mauve on the way to Joanne Fabrics because he was going to make me a dress for like whatever like Instagram post I wanted to make to come out as a trans woman. And we were just in the car and I was like, the name Evangeline has been like circling through my head. I was like, maybe a new drag name and like something I could go by out of drag as well. But that's like really proper and like what would people call me for short? Like I just have been like racking my brain and Mauve looks at me and he's just like, Eva? Obviously, what do you mean? And I was like, oh yeah, that's my name, I guess.
Oh, I
And
love that.
that's kind of how all that came to be.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it was just kind of a moment where I was also like starting to change pretty fundamentally as like an artist and as a person. I was adopting a more like grounded, less like alien aesthetic. I was also developing a more sustainable, like less kind of like party, drinking, drugs, like rock and roll kind of lifestyle. And also like was kind of building this life with my husband, with Mauve. And so I felt like the character of Strawberry was something that I needed to kind of leave behind, especially as like me moving back down to Brooklyn was kind of becoming closer and closer to something that was happening like really soon. I was like, if I'm trying to like shed my skin, then Strawberry has to go. Also, because if I continue to let my friends call me Strawberry in any capacity, that's all they're gonna call me because it's what they're used to. Like, and not that I don't like trust them to like evolve, but just giving them that option, it's like only makes sense for like that to be the most comfortable term for them to use for me. And I was like, I need to just eliminate it and be like, y'all, new name, get used to it. The old one's dead. Bye. But Strawberry lives within me. I was Strawberry for Sex Change in June. And I
Okay.
did like some classic numbers I have not done as Evangeline, and it was really fun.
Oh, that's so lovely. I mean, hey,
And
strawberry is part of your identity. Like that's even though you don't go by that or like that's part of your past.
and you want to know the real kicker is that that sex change was the first time I ever wore a skullet.
Oh, okay. So that unlocked something. Strawberry was helping you
So
from beyond.
exactly, like I kind of like dredged her up from her grave, took her hair. Because I was fully bald and I used to wear like a bun or like a banging bun, or I would just wear like a bun on my head and like draw like a bunch of squiggly lines all over my head. So I had sort of like been doing like a proto skullet back then. And so I was just like, well, if I just put a wig on top of the bun, then it's a skullet. And here we are.
Yeah. That honestly, that was probably the best decision for you in 2024.
Truly, that and the DJing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to keep focused because I know I was like rambling like crazy, and I also know you have actual like thought out questions for me. So please,
Oh, no,
if
this
if you got
show
anything,
you assume too much.
I
I
do.
I love talking, like just learning and stuff like that. Honestly, I feel like we could like talk forever and I would just be like entertained by it all. So don't feel bad at all. I mean,
Okay,
yeah. So
you got
uh
it.
I want to what was I gonna say? I completely forgot. No, I think that's so amazing that you're able to figure out that you needed to change. I feel like a lot of people kind of get stuck in their like bubble or get stuck in like what they know. Like that was the thing with this podcast too. Like for a long time it was about the people and things that we're thankful for and like I would have a guest on regardless of age, regardless of like, you know, where they're at in life. I would just bring them on. I usually would know them and we would talk about places and things, people that they're thankful for and that's all we would talk about and it got to a point where it was just like not enjoyable anymore. Oh, did I freeze? Am I frozen? Because you're a little bit frozen. We've been freezing a lot.
No, no,
Oh, okay. You've been hearing me. Okay, that's good
yeah,
because you froze for just a minute. I wasn't sure if I was froze on my end. I think
no,
like
I can hear you. I can totally
the
hear you.
the internet connection is cold, Mama. It's January.
Oof.
Yeah. So anyway, it got stale and I didn't like doing it anymore. So I knew I had to like create this change ever since I started getting really invested in drag because I watched RuPaul's Drag Race, but I think what really got me into drag was going to my local scene and getting to know all the people in that for a little while, and not only in Spokane but also in Seattle as well. So that's kind of where I was like, oh, I'm very inspired by Paris is Burning and like just having like a documentary of like people that they're famous now to us because like they're part of history, but back then these were divas that were like doing their best to survive in the 1980s and they a lot of them did not survive during that period of time and it's such a miracle that we even have like this record of them like available for the public and I wanted to create something like that with this and highlight not just drag artists but like people within the queer nightlife community because unlike any nightlife community like in the world I think queer nightlife has such a strong and important part of like queer history that it should be more documented.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of like the only home we were ever like kind of given the option to live in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like we were always like relegated to like doing what we do and being together like under the cover of darkness. And it's created a very rich and flourishing culture that I think does very much deserve to be documented and understood, especially, you know, not to bring up anything too much in that regard, because I'm still in my avoidance phase, but with everything going on with the election and the general like state of trans people being used as scapegoats for wider like systemic collapse happening in the United States right now, it's definitely important that like we are documented and that people in the future can see what was going on. Because I mean, if you think about the context of Paris is Burning too, it's like that all is happening under the cover of the AIDS crisis and under threat of the AIDS crisis, and the way that that was horribly neglected by Ronald Reagan and the U.S. government. And it's very, yeah, I think it's important that queer nightlife is being showcased always, but especially now when, I mean, I believe that it's all going to still be here. Because if it was still here through the AIDS crisis, if it was still here in the 60s, if it was still here during the many, many times of persecution, it'll still be here now. But, and for the foreseeable future. But I think what is like really important with documentation also is doing exactly, and Paris is Burning, like, I know there's a lot of critique of how that was done, how money was made off of it, like the ways in which it was exploitative. But I think the thing that she did really well was like capture, as you said, like people who are just like people entrenched in the community, living their day-to-day lives, like working towards their goals, like not the like fully modified image of that subculture, but just truly like showing us a little piece of the subculture, which I think is something really, really missing from drag right now. Mm-hmm. Because like us, like on the ground, like we are not visible, we are not like acknowledged. Like, I mean, on Drag Race this past season, like they had a toast to not being local girls anymore. And I was like, really? Like you're having a toast to corporate people like now always breathing down your neck and changing the way that you make your art, but you get to maybe make a little bit more money, except you're also in way more debt than the rest of us.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. Like, and especially now that with Drag Race anyway, like right now, it's not the career booster that maybe it once was too. So like you had the Selena STDs article just recently come out and being like, yeah, Ru girls aren't getting as booked as they used to be and stuff like that. So it's just yeah. That was another reason why I made this podcast too. It was just because to help my understanding of the queer nightlife scene beyond just Drag Race. I wanted to break the stereotype of like, oh yeah, I just know Drag Race queens type of thing.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm such a fan of that show.
Mm-hmm,
like I really like that show changed my life. I would absolutely not be where I am without it. And like the icons of that show hold like I have a Mount Rushmore of drag artists from that show that I like revere in such a major way. And like, you know, they wouldn't be on my Mount Rushmore if I had never met them and could never watch them on TV and like all of that good stuff. And just like, I probably wouldn't be able to make money off of this if it wasn't Drag Race. Mm-hmm. I'm still not making that much, but I wouldn't be able to make any if it wasn't for Drag Race. Like it's such a like fundamental like piece of the puzzle of queer culture in this day and age. And I have like equal resentment for the types of people who will try and I've like actually heard about like things like this happening in certain people's drag classes. Not to get a little messy, but I'm going to get a little messy. I heard that there was a drag class happening
Oh,
And the teacher of said drag class was like, we're just not going to talk about RuPaul.
oh, that's
Like, we're
crazy.
just going to pretend that RuPaul doesn't exist. And I'm like,
You
you,
have
you,
to.
you can't do that.
Hmm.
Like, drag would just be a fundamentally different thing right now if it wasn't for RuPaul. You don't have to like him.
Hmm.
Personally, I'm probably more of a RuPaul fan than I am like a Drag Race fan. Like, I'm obsessed with RuPaul. I think he's hysterical. But you can't just like ignore like the biggest shaping force of a culture, even though like there are ways in which like I have a lot of criticism for RuPaul beyond just like some of the really kind of basic ideas. RuPaul's like the Jay-Z of drag. Like, RuPaul is really such an incredible figure in terms of like the sheer amount that she had to like fight through to get to her place, but she low-key sold the rest of us out like that. No questions asked. She said, all right, American dream, it's mine. It doesn't have to be anybody else's. Like, I'm gonna get my money, I'm gonna get my mansion. But yeah, anyway, that's a whole other thing. Sometimes sometimes I dig too deep down the rabbit hole
No,
and I
I
start to talk about things in a broader sense, but then
no, I think it's
okay,
phenomenal.
that's good because sometimes I'm really scared that I just come off like incomprehensible.
No, I think like this has been a really enlightening conversation. I love it so much. We're learning a little bit about you, and we're just learning a little bit more about your thoughts on the world, which I think is this is what this show is about.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was like I was getting ready for this and I was like finally an opportunity where I only have to talk about myself. I love that. And then I'm just like mostly talking about whatever like random things I'm thinking about or other people or other all that. But I think like you talked about in most thing, like I am also like very defined by the world that surrounds me and the culture that surrounds me and the people that surround me.
I will give you another opportunity to talk about yourself, Evangeline. Something that you have been doing recently. You came out recently, as you said in the show, as a DJ. So, where did that come from?
Yeah, so my dad's a musician, so I was raised around music for a long time. I have like the most absolute baseline competency in a couple instruments and vocals, but I don't use it anymore because I like to mash my mouth to stuff. But I one day Mauve and me went to a sex party because Mauve was performing at the sex party. And I was there just kikiing, having a great time. There was a hot tub. I went in before the fucking started, which is good because I would not have gone in after.
That's fair.
But wonderful, wonderful time. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought to myself, like, I'm in this monogamous relationship, but I really want to be sexier. I'm going to start DJing. So one day I can DJ the sex party. So that was my first like inclination, and I really was so serious in that moment, thinking like I'm doing this so that one day I can like play America Has a Problem at a sex party. It hasn't happened yet, but I have some connects. It's going to happen soon. I hope, I pray. But yeah, so I asked DJ Accident Report, the resident DJ at our shows, one of my amazing like drag and queer mentors, mother figures, and he had been offering to teach me for a while, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll learn. And then I just never committed. But this time I was so serious. I was like, I am going to learn how to do this. I feel it in my bones like this is like something I need to do right now. So I learned how to do it at his house, just like on a laptop. He shows me the basics. I like download the software immediately the next morning. I'm like DJing on my own, just on my laptop. and I just start practicing every day because it's just fun. Oh my goodness. It is such a like great like sensory experience for me. I love I think Accident Report like explained it very well where it's like turning music into a like sandbox video game where you can just make other people's music into whatever you want and like mash it up with other things. And it like it's kind of like the ultimate stim for me. And like when I just need something to like fully occupy my brain, that's what I do because it's so engaging to me. So I was just doing it because I loved it, but I also like got the vibe that I was good at it. And like I got a lot, even on my first night, like I got a lot of positive feedback from Accident Report, and I just started doing it. And my God, how refreshing it is to really fall in love with something and also be good at it, like right from the beginning.
I
Because
love
that
that.
was not drag for me at all in any way. It took me years to get to the point where I could like look at a performance and be like, okay, that was good. And it took me about a week to start DJing in a way where I was like, oh, I'm doing a really good job.
Mhm.
And I have experienced more success, like at least in like quantity of bookings this year as a DJ than any year of drag in my entire career.
Oh, cool.
I have 4 monthly residencies. I DJ'd in Cherry Grove and Fire Island for Peppermint's show called Rated X. I've DJ'd 4 of the 8 Switch and Play after parties this year. And of course there's Fagnet. It was something that, and it's such a trope, especially for like a kind of like alternative trans woman to start DJing. Like it's like a salmon swimming upstream. It's just going to happen. And I really felt the call at that sex party, like just wishing that America Has a Problem by Beyonce was on and it wasn't. But being like, you know what? I bet these people would have crazy sex if I put on America Has a Problem by Beyonce. So and so much has like stemmed from it since I started doing it. I've completely fallen in love with so much like electronic music and different like crazy subcultures. I got really, really into Vogue music because that is Accent Report's like bread and butter. That's what he loves. And I'm one of a few of his DJ children, and the general consensus is that I'm the one who takes most after his style because he loves Jersey Club, he loves Vogue, he loves like really like he loves hip hop too, and a lot of like Brazilian funk music, baile funk, which I play all that shit too. So yeah, it was just a moment where every piece fell into place for me. I was like living in my purpose, and it continues to be like it's just become this like other like pillar in my life alongside drag, and something that I like plan to keep doing for as long as I can do it.
That sounds so cool. There's nothing more cooler than a DJ, I would say. Like if you're out there just swinging beats and just hanging out, like there's something cool about DJs.
There's also nothing lamer than a DJ.
Oh, I mean, sure. I'll
That
let
that's that is the beautiful thing about being a DJ, is that it is either the coolest thing you can be or the absolute cringest thing you could be.
Yeah. Well, I will also add to your coming out as trans, then drag, then DJ pipeline thing because we actually did have a guest on the show,
Don't forget
Mix.
about bald.
Oh, bald. Well, she's not bald, but we had a guest on the show, Mix, who's also a trans femme non-binary person who does drag in Bellingham, who's also a DJ, DJ Rolla Blunt. So,
DJ Roll a Blunt.
mhm.
I'll have to follow her.
Yeah, she
I'm
was
trying to make new DJ friends.
Yeah, she's a great person. I think you'd like her episode. We just uploaded it a while ago, so you should go listen to it.
I will. I will. I'm a fan of the podcast. Like you're a very good interviewer. I really did like love your interview with Mauve.
I love that. Yeah, you should listen to that. Don't listen to the old stuff. Listen to the drag stuff that just came out, the
I
reboot.
I will. I will. I will listen on your recommendation.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for that. So is it DJ Eva or DJ Evangeline? Or do you
DJ Evangeline.
Mhm.
So it all stays under the same brand. Because I think that the like cutting my teeth in the drag world definitely really helped me just like get these bookings DJing at drag shows, which is pretty much all I do. I've only DJed a couple like non drag shows before, although I'm itching to do more of that because DJing a drag show is anyway. Yeah, it's DJ Evangeline.
Well, tell me, keep going. You sound like you had a thought there.
Yeah. DJing a drag show, it's great. I love drag. Of course I love drag. That being said, sometimes DJing a drag show is DJing to an empty room for 15 minutes while everybody's at the bar getting drinks.
I see. Exactly. I can relate to that. I've seen it. I've seen it before.
And sometimes it's like people are there to like dance and to do drag, but I have found that like at least in like the like alt scene in Brooklyn, the vibe has very much changed from like everybody is here performing and partying to like everybody is here to watch a show or to be in the show and not really there to like get super crazy and like drink and dance and like lose their minds, which is fine, but it does mean like that a lot of times like I am playing the mental game of like, oh, nobody's dancing, nobody's even here. What's the point of me being here? Wait, no, let me just like have fun and enjoy the experience and the process in and of itself because I'm still getting paid either way.
That's fair. I mean, that is the Spokane nightclub scene here. On unfortunately, like every time I've gone, empty room, people are just drinking and yeah, I get that. That's why I don't go out.
It's a little depressing. I also think though, like when you are a DJ and you put out your best work, even in an empty room, like people notice. And like sometimes people who were not there to dance, who were there to sit, if they start vibing, they start dancing, and then other people start dancing, and sometimes it can become something really beautiful. And I would say, like to anybody who's a new DJ, and I am a new DJ. I'm only about a year in. Just like just just play like you're playing the boiler room every time
Okay.
because it's fun. It's more fun to play like you're playing the boiler room every time instead of just being like, all right, I'm just gonna hit play on some songs since nobody cares, but you care, and I like you're listening to your own music, so make it good.
No, yeah, exactly. Um, gosh, you really like sold me on Brooklyn, honestly. I mean, like a lot of drag kings and queens that I've interacted with from Brooklyn already sold me, but like I think this episode, it's like, dang, I feel like I should go to Brooklyn even for a day.
I think it's I am very biased in saying this, but I do in my heart of hearts believe it like has the highest peak of quality of drag artistry in the world with very like stiff competition from places like Chicago because shout out to Chicago, those divas are locked in, those people are really scary talented. But Brooklyn, like there's just like a level of freedom because there's so much in the way of like options for where a person would like to go out and what a person would like to see, that you're able to be more successful in a niche and like build your own thing. Like it's definitely the best place to produce drag shows because there are so many bars. There are so many queer bars. Like there are plenty of like queer bars that I've never been to, never heard of, that, that are right around the corner from my house, that are right by all the other queer bars that I know really well. Drag shows happen everywhere to varying degrees of success. But it's so, the only thing is with it that it's so big that like you can never truly like experience all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just like go on one trip and be like, all right, I did the whole thing, because there are people in the scene who are doing their goddamn thing. And I've never met Janelle number 5.
Oh wow. Okay.
Just never. Like, I know who she is, I follow her, whatever. Like, maybe she knows who I am, who knows? But like, she's an omnipresent part of the scene. And I have simply just never crossed paths with her in the like many, many years I've been involved in Brooklyn drag. It just hasn't happened. Like, we've maybe been in the same room together, but I have never introduced myself. Like, I've never said hello, nothing like that. Just because that's how it is. Like, it's too big. Like, you're just not going to know everybody, which is, I like it because it means like not as much like the scene politics are a little bit less like in the forefront, because there's all these like little micro communities that are more interested in what each other are doing than what like the wider community is doing. But it does like mean that sometimes it can feel a little impersonal, especially coming from where I come from, where like we were like the goddamn Sopranos of New Paltz, New York. Like we were a well organized, very interconnected, like intimate family that ran the whole community, and everybody knew us for like being a very tight knit like family of performers. And I still very much have that here, but it's interesting that we are just like a tiny little speck in the wider like portrait of Brooklyn drag, especially when you look at it kind of across like the years.
Yeah, it sounds so big. Like, and especially with how small Brooklyn is, like it just seems like there's so much going on.
I think it's also become, New York City has become a lot more interconnected in terms of like who's working where. Like, the Queens girls are working in Hell's Kitchen. The Hell's Kitchen girls are working at $3 Bill. The $3 Bill girls are working in Astoria. Like, it's a lot, especially like on that more like quote unquote like mainstream kind of place. Like, the idea of like a tri-borough diva was like very rare when I was first starting here, whereas now like almost all of the like biggest names in the scene are people who work across the whole city.
Oh, that's so cool.
I think especially because Queens is kind of having this like huge like drag renaissance post-pandemic.
Yeah, that a trip to New York needs to happen. It sounds like essential.
It's important. There's a lot of like very compelling things going on here that I think you especially would really enjoy. Just plan it around a sex change or a fagnet.
Oh, no, absolutely. Like, yeah, I would be crazy not to plan it around one of those two events for sure. And for those who are not familiar, Sex Change, we talked about on Mauve's episode. We talked about Fagnet. Sex Change is the one that you host with Mauve, but Fagnet, you're mostly involved DJing over there, and they just got nominated for a Glam as well.
It's my first Glam nomination.
Love that. How do you
Yeah.
the winner circle right here on the show?
Well, I don't know if we won yet, but
You're gonna win. I'm gonna manifest it. My manifestations are really good. We're gonna make sure you win.
I mean, Fagnet really, being on that Glam Award, it gagged me because the show is not even a year old. It's the first Drag King show to ever be nominated in the Best Bar Party category. it's the only, I think, don't hold me to this, I think it's the only brand new show on that roster of nominees. And it's the only one that involves me in any way, shape, or form. So, but I think it really deserves it. Like, I knew very early that that show was going to be a runaway hit because it was something that just should have been there already. And like a drag king show at Come On Everybody, run by three like very prominent working kings who are very capable at what they do and very popular. Like, it just makes complete sense. How would that not be successful? There's a lot of drag king fans in this city. Like, this is a great place to be a drag king. Mm. Overall, it's always hard to be a drag king, but New York is a really, like, Brooklyn specifically is a really good place to be a drag king because you actually have like real examples of people who are like doing it and people who can really teach you. So I love it for that. And I also just like those three, like, they are all so independently good at what they do, and they're also different, but there's also like ways that like in personality they're all like similar and they're all different. Like, Show Pony is like, he's such a charisma vacuum. Mm-hmm. Like, he has such an orbit around him where people are just like completely entranced by his like presence and his persona. And then Mauve is a workhorse and also like a very like anal retentive and like kind of, he's a Capricorn. He's like a super Capricorn. And God is kind of like, and Pony is a lot more like lackadaisical and a lot more like go with the flow. And God is kind of like directly in the middle of that. Like, he is equally like lackadaisical and anal retentive. So it makes for like a very fun producing team that all are like very good at different things. And they're all just so hot and talented.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I just have fun being the DJ for them and doing the drag roulette. It's a great show to DJ.
Yeah, and like, it's three drag kings with three distinct different styles of drag coming together and making something like truly unique. Like, I don't think I've know too many like all king shows.
No, Brooklyn definitely has a rich history of at least like drag king like centered and focused shows like the Cake Boys. I know Mauve talked quite a bit about them. I know that they're kind of in a transitional period, but the Cake Boys had their show and their competition Takes the Cake, which was amazing. There's a very disgraced drag king collective that came before the Cake Boys that I won't name, but sometimes things turn into cults, low key. Anyway, Switch and Play started out as a drag king collective. Mm-hmm. Love Switch and Play. They're not that anymore, but also like they are so iconically like a place for drag kings. They book drag kings. There are 2 drag kings on the roster. And one of my favorite things to happen in New York in a very long time happened not this past Pride, but the like last Pride 2023. Miss Malice and Murray Hill ran a show called The Big Drag King Show that had, I think, 20 drag kings from they had like 20 drag kings from across New York and in other places of the world too. That's the first place I ever saw King Molasses. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh yeah, King Molasses is someone I'm trying to get on the show as well.
He's He's elusive. We had him for sex change, and he was mind blowing, of course. Um, that was the first time I saw him. Met a bunch of the Kings from DC that are really cool. It was that was so cool, and it was so cool to see like $3 Bill, which is this big venue, just be like packed out for a show that was only drag kings.
Oh, that's so cool. Like, Eva, I think like well we're almost at like 2 hours of like talking, and like we've talked about you, but like it has been such an amazing opportunity to like not only learn about you, but like just it from the way you talk about your drag scene, you love it so much, and you can tell.
It's I was always like like whatever like a conventional life, like the world, like that even can exist if a conventional life really even exists for anybody. But like the whole like 9 to 5 or even like going to school, like that shit just never worked for me.
Mm.
It just like I just didn't belong. Like, and I knew it from a very young age, and I've been involved in something countercultural, something like frowned upon and subversive, where people acted outside of like what a societal norm would like dictate as acceptable. Like I was a LARPer when I was a teenager. That was like my thing. And it was very drag. Like it was basically just drag. I was just putting on a character. And when I became an adult, like that shifted to drag. And in like most facets of my life, like what I am interested in is never like what the dominant society wants from me. It's the same is true with my parents too. Like they're both artists. My mom is an actress. My dad is a musician. Like, and you know, they never like got famous or super rich off of it, but they kept doing it their whole lives. So I just feel like it was always going to be like this life in some way. And it could have been a different medium, but like the white picket fence, 9 to 5, kids and the dog, like even if trans people were allowed to do that, which we are, but only in name we are. But like even if like that wasn't a problem, even if that wasn't a barrier, like I was always too fucking weird and like too sensitive and too like I talk too much like this, you know. So I it's just all that like inhabits my brain is this like little world I've like built for myself, because like why would I care about all that other shit? Like why would I even care that much about myself? Like I'm interested in myself in that I'm interested in what my place in the like mythology of drag is. Like who am I in that? But and this is something that really changed my perspective and maybe is why I'm much more interested in talking more widely. Like I've been like very insecure about my place in drag many times in my life, and about if I'm a superstar or if I'm just like somebody who's just gonna keep like doing okay for the rest of my life and whatever. And the realization that really came to me was I need to stop thinking about what doing drag is going to do for me, and I need to start thinking about what I'm doing for drag, because like the whole is more important than me. So that's kind of what I've been living by since. Like I'm just existing like as a like proxy the for like not even not a proxy, but I want to like kind of spread the good word. Like I guess I'm a preacher.
Yeah, an evangelist.
Exactly, a televangelist.
Televangelist. There you go. To add to that, because that was really well spoken. what are, and this could be like the last question before we go into lightning round two. What is something that you still want to accomplish with your drag or even like your art? What's left?
I think, I mean, so much. Like I want everything. I really do. Like I want to experience like every every like little joy of being like trans. I really and but I think like some of my biggest goals right now, my dream show is always going to be nightgowns. Like I don't know if or when it would ever happen for me, but like that's kind of like drag wise sort of my like one unturned stone. Like I've done a headlining spot at Bushwig, I've done Switch and Play, I've done a lot of like my favorite shows, but that's my drag race, you know? Like a lot of the people like dream about being on Drag Race. I dream about doing nightgowns. So that's a big one. And then a lot of the other stuff is like I want to get FFS. I want to like get better at DJing. I want to walk OTA and not get chopped. Because yeah, I've walked New York Fashion Week. I've done a lot. I'm almost at 10 years doing this shit. So like some of the things I want are kind of small and like just like developments of like different aspects of my like wider like expression. But the big drag one, oh, and traveling. Like I wanna go to Chicago, I wanna go to Austin, I wanna go to Europe, like I wanna go to fucking Thailand. And like do my drag there and see who likes it. So I think those are my things. Also, because like I think I might have done the best number of my career this year, and I'm not sure if I'm capable of topping it. Like I think I actually might have peaked at Bushwig this year.
Oh yeah. No, I why don't you tell us about it a little bit more? Because I think I saw it too and it was amazing, your Bushwick number.
So the number is called How to Kill the Internet in Three Easy Steps. It is a number inspired by the Twitter account Insane Facebook AI Slop, which is as described. It's insane AI slop from Facebook. It's malformed, bizarre, kind of like uncanny valley monstrosities paired with the Facebook captions, which are my favorite thing about the AI slop, because there's like recurring captions.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my favorites are like, you will never regret liking this post. Why do posts like these never trend? Future billionaires will like this post. And then there's some really crazy ones like, today is my birthday. Nobody
Yes.
loves me because I am poor. And then beautiful cabin crew, Scarlett Johansson. And then there's 10 unknown facts about Lamborghini. And that really propelled the whole piece over the edge. So what I do is I put on a bit of like the Vivaldi Four Seasons concerto. I think it's summer. It's the I don't know. It's it's a very famous like classical music piece that's very like frantic and manic. And I'm just like up there with these projections of this insane Facebook AI slop, just screaming at the top of my lungs, like, why do posts like these never trend? You know, today is my birthday. Nobody loves me because I'm poor. And at the very end of the spoken word part, and this all was like totally like impromptu. I did have certain people in the audience like planted repeating some things because I was intending for an audience to like be kind of in like a weird state of fervor and like not sure why there are these like random people in the audience screaming things back at me. It was meant to be like intentionally disorienting, but what it turned into was a whole like room wide, maybe like 150 to 200 people all chanting 10 unknown facts about Lamborghini. And then it goes into Angel of My Dreams sad version, and I did a skullet reveal where I just take a bang off of my head and it reveals to my bald
I
head.
love Oh, I love that. No, I know what you mean about the AI slap. The one I get the most is I made my birthday cake with peach cream and filling. Have you ever seen one of those?
Ooh, I made my birthday cake with peach cream. I might have to start saying that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I
Or
made my birth. I made my. Oh, what's the other one? You gotta
birthday
tell
cake.
me.
Yeah, I made my own birthday cake with peach cream and filling. I'm 100 years old, or like I'm 200 years old, and uh, and I
Yes.
yeah, that one. That was really
Oh my God. There, there's so much. There's so much going on there. Like, and I truly do think that the only great AI art is art about AI art.
exactly. No, I get what you mean. I AI art is crazy, especially the Facebook ones that you were talking about. But no, I love that performance. I think I have it up here on my iPad, and we'll play it a little bit during the podcast. Probably not like with sound or anything, but just like in motion,
Yes.
but so people can have a look at that. Uh,
Yeah. As I describe it bit by bit, I see it. I see the finished product in my head. I
yeah,
get what you're going for.
that's a nightgown's performance.
Oh, if I ever do nightgowns, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, the
And
way he
I'm so glad. It means like I'm locked in. If it ever happens, I don't know. No, nobody said anything to me yet, but if it ever happens, I'm gonna be locked in and ready. Why do posts like these never trend?
exactly, and they will trend when they're on nightgowns.
They will. I had many people that weekend tell me it was their favorite performance of all of Bushwig,
Hmm.
which was crazy to say. But very, very like it was really like the like peak of like what I've been trying to do. And I'm so happy with it, but I'm also like I need a little while before I like know like where to go next from there.
Hmm. Now you'll get there. I think if anything, like this episode's proven you're very you got the stuff, and I think you got some cool ideas. They're cooking up in there.
I think so.
All right.
I'm cooking something really fun up right now, but I'll save that for when it happens.
Exactly. Well, we are towards the end of the show here, and I have five more questions. They're the lightning round section of the show. Um, they're not they're not fast at all. It's not really a lightning round, but that's what I like to call them. um, are you ready to answer these five questions?
Let's do it.
Question number one, describe a perfect day.
Oh my God. A perfect day. I think I had a perfect day yesterday.
Oh yeah, for New Year's?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was I guess a perfect night. But like a generic like perfect day, I think would involve me getting up at my leisure to a clean house and not having to get up to eat breakfast because I take ADHD meds and I need to eat before I take my meds. But if I don't have my meds in my system, then getting up is really hard. So if somebody brings me breakfast like that, that's great. So get some breakfast in bed, get up. Um, and then from there, there's a couple options that could lead to a perfect day. So like there's either the like, oh my God, like best show ever, like going out kind of night. There's the like amazing intimate night with friends or like time with friends where we're just like talking and like bonding and being close and loving each other. Or there's just like the like I'm just happy and at peace with myself and just hanging out with my husband and like living our life with our little kitty Pico. So I think a perfect day can come in many ways, but I think it happens more at the beach than anywhere else.
Love that. That sounds great, especially if you're with good company. And I think the Mauve and Pico, the Pico one sounds like my favorite.
Yeah, the most perfect day I had in 2024 though was when I spent 24 hours in Cherry Grove in Fire Island and DJ'd a show and like oh my God, it was so much vacation packed into 24 hours. And I really did not know I could feel joy like that anymore. I thought that was like just a like me at 21, like taking MDMA and acid at the same time kind of happy.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Not like me at almost 28, like just doing my thing in a beautiful place where it's warm and sunny and there's no cars. But that it was very life affirming to be like, oh yeah, I don't even have to like do anything crazy. All I need to do is DJ for a bunch of horny trans people and have it be on an island, and I'll be just that happy.
oh, I love that. That's I need to get, that's another thing I need to do is Fire Island. I need to go to Fire Island.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like you should try Palm Springs. It's so much closer to you.
Yeah,
Have you
that's
done Palm Springs?
I've not done Palm Springs, but that is of all the gay stuff that I need to do, the Palm Springs is one of them. I've done Los Angeles, I've done Seattle. Seattle has a really good alt like drag scene here, so Palm Springs, New York. But let's go to New
I
York
love
first.
Seattle.
Let's go to New York
Yeah,
first.
I had the amazing pleasure of getting to work in Fire Island and in Provincetown this
Oh,
summer.
P Town, that's another
I
one.
yeah, P Town. P Town. I met my new lesbian mothers who gave us baked goods and homegrown weed, which I did smoke right before this interview.
Oh, I love that.
Um, it's the it's the we call it the Magic P Town Dyke weed. It's incredible. That was a whole other thing. That was also a perfect day. I've had a lot of perfect days. Life can be really great.
I love that for you. I hope 2025 has more perfect days in the future.
I hope so too. I think it will.
Oh, it
Every
will.
year does have at least a couple.
Yeah, they have oh, for sure. A couple good ones, couple bad ones, but it's the good ones that count.
Exactly. I think I have more perfect days than I have like absolutely like irredeemably bad days.
That's good. That not a lot of people can say that.
You're right. That's great. Maybe I am a happy person. That's crazy. Anyway, what's the next lightning round question?
This one's gonna be a hard one because you're probably gonna ramble. But question number two, describe.
Me?
Uh,
Really?
well, this one, question number two is, what's a song that describes your life right now?
Ooh. Oh my God. A song that describes my life right now. Golden Lady by Stevie Wonder off of Inner Visions.
Okay.
Um, the chorus is Golden Lady, I'd like to go there. And I think I don't know what the song like is the intention of the song is, but to me that's like I feel like I'm spending a lot of time looking at my like projection of my idealized self at this moment. And I think Golden Lady is very much like that song for me. It's like the song that I'm like singing to like or I guess Stevie Wonder is singing to the future version of me who is beyond what the current version of me could like um, comprehend myself being.
Okay,
And
that
I
was
think
a
I'm doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
yeah. That sounded like you pulled it out right out of your head. I thought it was going to be a lot harder for you as a DJ and music lover.
When it comes to music that impacts me and stuff, I'm usually just going to go straight to that album, Intervisions by Stevie Wonder. It's the greatest piece of music ever made, in my opinion. You should listen to it. Everybody says Songs in the Key of Life is his best album. They're liars and they're wrong. It's a
All right,
great album, but Intervisions is the one.
all right. Well, let's move on to the next question. Question number three. What's your third favorite movie?
Third favorite movie. Okay. So my movies. Um, what is my third favorite movie? Because I know I have a top three movies, but I'm forgetting what the third one was, and I'm forgetting where it ranked. I know that up there is Princess Mononoke and the Royal Tenenbaums,
Okay, Princess Mononoke is a good one.
but I know that there's a third one that I also. Oh my God, a movie I love. A movie I love so much. It it's not the Rocky Horror Picture Show, although I do love Rocky Horror. Something else. Is it? Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Because my favorite movie of all time is a deep cut drag movie. It's called Die Mommy Die
Ah,
by Charles Bush. I don't know if you're aware of Charles Bush.
I was in a Charles Bush play.
You were? Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God.
Psycho Beach Party.
Psycho Beach Party. Great movie. But Die Mommy Die,
Mhm.
like, it's like if Mommy Dearest was actually like made by a drag queen. It is perfection. It stars a young Natasha Lyonne. It is like a wild ride. But that's like my all-time favorite like movie, just like period. So it's between Princess Mononoke and um Royal Tenenbaums. Royal Tenenbaums I love because I identify so strongly with Gwyneth Paltrow, like sitting in the bathtub smoking a cigarette and like watching TV with her clothes on. Like that is like so Evangeline to me. And also the whole movie, but it is like kind of depressing and weird and like I don't know, it's like I wish Wes Anderson would stop being so like such a faggot and start making movies like that again.
Oh yeah.
With actual like grit and humanity. But he's not gonna do that. He's too goddamn fruity. But I think it's probably Royal Tenenbaums is my third favorite movie. Because Princess Mononoke is too like it's too tied to my childhood to be three. It has to be two.
Okay. Those are good picks.
It was my bisexual awakening.
Mhm.
It,
Princess
it was
Mononoke.
my bisexual awakening. Like because I wanted both of them. They were both so hot.
Hmm. No, Princess Mononoke is a really good answer too. All of your answers have been really good. Good, like correct answers.
I do my best to be objective.
Mhm.
All
um,
right. I think we're getting through the lightning round pretty fast.
I think so. Yeah, especially since like I think it's we've been running 2 hours. I don't want to keep you here any longer, even though I would love. I feel like a smoke sesh with you, like we'd be talking all day.
Oh, trust. This is why you got to come to New York.
Yes, I will. It's on the bucket list. I will come to New York.
Also, so you can meet Pico. You have to
I
meet Pico.
I have to meet Pico. I have to meet Mauve.
Honestly, you got to get Pico on the podcast.
Yeah, like an April Fool's. Like have.
He's he's got a lot to say. He meows in many ways.
Mhm. I'll
All
I'll have
right.
my wiener dog Charlie interview Pico.
Oh my, now that's a stunt.
Two more questions.
All right. Lightning round. Let's
Uh,
do it.
question number four. What's your favorite ice cream topping?
Ice cream topping.
Mhm.
I usually like ice cream that like already has the toppings like in it, like a Ben and Jerry's situation.
Okay.
So it's probably something basic like whipped cream or hot fudge. I think it's just whipped cream. I
Okay.
love whipped cream.
Whipped cream's great. I always love whipped cream.
Yeah, I think it's just that simple.
Love it. Amazing. Last question, question number five, the most important question of the show. Pick a side, left Twix or right Twix.
Left Twix.
Awesome. Do you want to explain your answer?
I don't know what it means.
The first one.
I guess, oh, it's like a Twix bar.
Yeah, like the which side are you
Oh,
eating or which side are you picking first?
oh, both.
Oh, do you
What do
just
you
eat?
mean? Is somebody else going to eat my right Twix?
I mean, they could.
No, I break them off. Not if I have anything to do with it. You know what? My answer is Kit Kat.
Kit Kat, and you'll just eat the Kit Kat like
Yeah.
all together like a monster instead of breaking them apart.
Honestly, that is very in character for me.
I love that.
I do eat lemons like right off the rind. Like I'll
Oh,
just grab a lemon from my drink, just put it in my mouth and just rip the rind off. I'll just eat the juicy parts because they're sour and delicious.
oh wow.
That's one of
Put
my favorite party tricks.
put a little tahini on it. That could be really good.
Oh, I love you. You know how to live, Sid. You know how to live.
Hey, I'm trying, I do a lot of things.
You too.
All right, so we are at the end right now. Evangeline, thank you so much for being on the show. Where can people find you in Brooklyn? Like you're everywhere, but like what's the most things that if people want to see Evangeline all day, every day?
So I am resident DJ for Alex the Mez After School Special at All Night Skate, for Dykes and Dolls at Sunset Stoop, and for Fagnet. And I am resident DJ for something else too, I think. Oh, not confirmed yet, but there is probably another one coming very soon. You can also find me at Sex Change every other month. The next one is February 27th. We just cast it. It's sickening. One of my absolute favorite entertainers in New York City is on the roster, which usually happens, but like I am like presently very much like a dick rider for this person, for lack of a better word. So I'm very excited to see her in the cast. And I'm also on January 28th, I'm debuting a brand new number at a show called Wailing Women at Rubilad in Bushwick. It is my first brand new number since 10 Unknown Facts About Lamborghini, and it is very different. It is not exactly funny, but I think it's going to be really good. But Wailing Women, it's a show about like women in grief, despair, hysterics, rage. And like set one is like grief themed and set two is anger or like rage themed. So check back to see, but I will say it may involve flaming locks of auburn hair.
Oh, could you repeat that last part? You froze out.
All right, so I won't spoil it too much, but it may involve flaming locks of auburn hair.
Okay. All right. That sounds sickening. And then for the people that are like me who are not able to come to Brooklyn anytime soon, but want to follow everything that you do, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I am Evangeline on all social media platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. I don't go on Twitter anymore. My Twitter exists for archival purposes, but I'm done with that shit. Fuck Elon Musk. You can find me on all social media platforms at Tell Evangeline. That's TELLEVANGELINE. And I'm about to grace you with a Brooklyn standard. You can find me on Venmo at Real Life Strawberry. That's REALLIFESTRAWBRRY on Venmo and Cash App.
Okay. Amazing.
At my shows, people chant that along with me.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. See, I didn't know
It's
that.
it,
I didn't know that because I haven't been to your shows yet. So
well, you got one just for you. Like you need to understand that that's a very famous thing I just did. I'm kidding. Only sort of. It's true. It's a triple platinum joke among my friends.
I love that. Well, all those links and everything for your Venmo, Cash App, social media will be in the description below. And you can follow the Wayward World podcast at the Wayward World at Wayward World Podcast on Instagram and on YouTube and podcast services everywhere. We haven't uploaded a lot of the audio versions yet. I just yeah, I don't know. they're coming out the audio versions of these, but the YouTube ones are still on track. You can follow me on social media. It's Sid Al 714 everywhere you get social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram. And yeah, thank you again for watching. There'll be more drag and more nightlife entertainment on this show in 2025. I'm excited to share these amazing artists that I find on social media and throughout the entire world. Um, and this will be the last couple episodes in the last couple months we'll be in this room, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. And Wayward Artists, without further ado, it's been real.